Hello, awesome humans in the world. Thanks for jumping on. So, I want to talk to you about a couple techniques that are taken from Neville's lecture on mood. Okay, so this is his lecture, not one of his books. Okay, and I will share that title below. But what I want to do is I want to explain what the mood is, and then I also want to explain when he says things like, I want you to intensify the scene to the nth degree. Now keep in mind, that's him saying that. That's not me saying that. I think a lot of people get really either confused or upset or frustrated that people are saying that, for example, you need to use emotion, or that you need to use feelings, or that there's a difference between emotion and feeling. So as a psychologist, I actually come at this from that perspective. And so I'm going to explain all of that, okay? But what I want to do is I want to actually give you a couple techniques. And most of these videos are going to be about giving you techniques. But first and foremost, and every time I create one of these videos around techniques, I really need you to hear this. The techniques are not manifesting, okay? You are the state, okay? You are the power of God, which is here in the imagination, okay? That is what is manifesting. The emotions, the thoughts, everything else is more akin to a tool. It's better understood as a tool. You're using the emotions to get you to the conviction of accepting that you are now that person, okay? So when you ask, do I need to be in a certain feeling? Do I need to have a certain, like, do I need to have 12 of the same, like, synonymous thoughts? No, you don't. Okay, and we're going to talk about that one day as well, because I think there's a lot of anxiety that's not really cool, that comes from a load of misunderstanding from groups like Reddit or from groups like Facebook or WhatsApp. And I think that we need to clarify things, because do you think Neville or anybody who really taught the law really wanted us to go through life being anxious, whether we did I impress the subconscious? Did I not? Am I using enough emotion? Am I not? See, at the end of the day, even though we will be talking a lot about feeling, because that's one of Neville's basic ideas, that feeling is the secret, just keep in mind that feelings and thoughts are like any other method. They're any other technique. The real creator, the real power behind it is the imagination. It's up here, right? It's in there. It's going into the silence, okay? So keep that in mind as we kind of deep dive here, all right? So when Neville talks about, okay, you need to intensify your scenes, okay? Well, he's actually talking about a story. And so that story was shared by one of his other students, okay? Now, or just one of the people visiting that he actually received this 8 to 10 page letter on. So in the story, the person actually is using annoyance, okay? So this is very, very key, because, and this is why I think his work very, very much differs from the work of, let's say, Esther Hicks or Law of Attraction. And I'm not comparing in the sense of one's right and one's wrong, because to each their own. If it works for you, great. There's no judgment here. Continue on, right? But the difference is that to fully grasp what he's really meaning when he says, okay, let's use the emotion of annoyance, he's not creating a hierarchy of emotions. He's not saying this emotion is better than this emotion, or to use ignorance, oh, well, be careful because that's a negative one. No. See, even the very fact that we call the emotion negative is extremely problematic, right? We say anger, well, that's even Neville says later in one of his other lectures about good and evil, is there's no such thing. So when we look at these emotions as, oh my gosh, I'm feeling anger, and then you end up feeling bad, and then you end up feeling shame, and so on and so forth, that's you. That's society as well. So we need to get away from this idea that any emotion has any negative impact. And yes, you can get to that point, right? So that you can have days where you're angry. And I mean, he even says in one of his lectures, go ahead, get angry, right? But don't give up on your desire. Well, he said it, don't sin, but that's the same idea. Feel fulfilled. Have an angry day. Go get pissed off, right? Then at the end of the day, just bask, soak, be, right? That's what you want to do. So back to this idea of one technique, which is using annoyance, okay? Why? It's a pretty cool technique in the story that the gentleman shared, in that he wanted some extra money to paint his house. And what ended up happening is one of his scenes was that he created a scene for the first person that he was essentially annoyed that he had to wait in a long line at the bank to cash this huge check, right? Why? Because he wanted also a successful business, which was for him was being in the Hollywood industry, right? And so what he does is he creates a scene, and he's annoyed because he just doesn't have time. Why? Because he's so busy, because he's so successful, right? And so he uses the emotion of annoyance to be like, oh gosh, now I'm in a long line. I got to cash this check, right? And at one point he wants to paint his house, like I shared. So he uses annoyance again. And as he's taking a shower in his scene, he looks through the window and he can see the painters. And he's annoyed because obviously they haven't finished the job yet, right? But that means that he's in the middle of manifesting what he wanted. And he's experiencing it firsthand, right? The other thing is that he touches and feels wet paint. That's proof, right? Neville also encourages us to use touch in our scenes. I'm going to create a whole video on that. But that's one technique. So use annoyance, use it in a powerful way. And Neville even actually says, use this so that you don't stay in the emotion of lack, right? So if that's an emotion that you can use it. Does that mean that you can use anger? Of course. But I wouldn't use it in a violent way. It shouldn't lead to some sort of violent act. It shouldn't lead to more feeling of lack. It shouldn't lead to justification of, well, it's not the imagination, but it's something else, right? So again, you can use any emotion, but do it from 1, the state of the wish fulfilled. 2, you also have to do it from the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So don't use this as some sort of evil act, right? But it's a very powerful technique. So if you've used it, if you haven't used it yet and you want to, share below. If you have, definitely share, because other people want to hear this. The other one is to the nth degree. In this same lecture that I'm referring to, right? This is also where we get the idea of him saying wearing a hat. I'm going to write a Reddit on this, and that's like wearing the hat in and so on and so forth. And to you, it's the most important thing because it makes you look good and feel good and so on. But it also takes a minute because you're wearing it, right? And it takes a second to wear in. And that's what I do when I buy baseball caps and all of this kind of stuff. You have to wear it a little bit more. And so that's what he's saying. When you're catching the mood, you have to wear it. Like wear it like a piece of clothing, like your favorite piece of clothing. Okay, every day, every second of every day. He says, morning, noon, and night, right? And a lot of people don't want to hear that because they think, oh, does that mean I have to police my thoughts? No, you police your moods, not your thoughts, right? So, to the nth degree and intensification, which is another one, which go check out my other video on intensification, which again, everything that I share, I'm going to actually do individualized videos where we're going to explore these in way more depth. And we're going to really, really kind of like tear apart what he's saying in the context. We're also going to be starting a book club as part of my coaching program. So I'd love for you to join because that's where we're going to get the real deep truths that you can apply to your life daily. So, back to this, the nth degree, okay? Now, like I said at the top of this video, you don't have to have a certain emotion or feeling to manifest, okay? But you also have to understand where feelings come from, okay? Now, for some people, this is going to get a little bit too technical, and feel free to watch a different video. But the reason why I do more technical videos is because I'm trying to give people advanced techniques, not the basics, okay? If you need the basics, then please go take the time and read every Neville book and every Neville article you can get your hand on, right? But you have to understand that feelings are not the same as emotions. But without emotions, you can't have feelings. Okay, so now I'm sharing with you neuroscience. I'm sharing with you psychology, okay? There's a great book you should go read, which is called How Emotions Are Made. And it's fairly new. It's awesome. I know the lady, just amazing person. So, neuroscientist. So, How Emotions Are Made. Now, in this, the reason why I'm telling you this, and I'm giving you this really, really kind of in-depth breakdown, is so that you can take this information and make you the best damn manifester you've ever seen. So, okay? Emotions birth feelings. Okay, what are feelings? Feelings are interpretations of the emotions. Okay, so emotions are, I feel good because, I feel happy when, right? I feel excited because this happened. Whatever it is, okay? But I feel excited. Do you hear that? And then what comes after feel? Well, usually some sort of like adjective or something like that, right? Some describing word, or even like an adverb, where you're using some sort of describing grammar to say, I feel this way, right? So again, feeling is interpretation. Emotions are where they are birthed, okay? That's why you always have to actually still watch your emotions, right? Not that you have to police them to the point of like, I can't feel any other feeling other than goodness. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's law of attraction. That's not law of assumption, okay? You can feel every emotion you want to feel. That's the freeingness of this. Because if you don't, even Neville and Joseph Murphy talk about this, you suppress it and it shows up in your body in some way, shape, or form. Even Sigmund Freud said that, right? So again, please know that. I'm going to do another deep breakdown of why that's important in another video. But for the sake of this one, the reason why it's important is because when he says to intensify, you need to intensify not the emotion, but the feeling, which is the interpretation, right? So intensify to the nth degree the interpretation, which leads to conviction, okay? Which means I am that, okay? So he says that this can actually quicken your manifestation. So you're not intensifying the emotion, you're intensifying the interpretation. You're intensifying the perception. Yes, you can use the emotions while you're in the scene, but you don't have to, right? So hopefully this was helpful. This was kind of like a freaking workshop. I didn't mean to go so intense with some of this content, but everything that I've talked about here will probably be broken down into smaller chunks and bites, and I'm going to be going live soon, so be on the lookout for that. I would love for you guys to join that as well. We're going to do some most of the time they're going to be free lives. We're occasionally going to do some paid lives where we even go deeper. So much love to you all. Try out these techniques. Leave your comments below. Thank you for listening. Please share this video with at least one person today. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and watch out for the next video. Be safe in the world.